a chocolate glaze today, or like a chocolate dip. So this chocolate dip I'm actually going to be using to coat some cakes today. It's super easy to make. So what I love about this glaze is it's very easy to coat over your favorite little snack cakes or travel cakes, and it's going to keep those cakes moist or have a longer shelf life. I've gone ahead and chopped up all of my chocolate in my bowls here. I'm doing two varieties today. So we have a dark chocolate, and we're also going for a plant-based or dairy-free white chocolate. To that, we're going to be adding our cocoa butter, and if it comes in big chunks, just chop that up nice and fine. I've got mine in these little pellets, which is great. I'm going to add that to my chopped chocolate. Now I'm going to use a bain-marie today to start melting our chocolate. So on my hot plate here, I've got two saucepans, and I've just filled the bottom with about an inch and a half of water. We don't want the bowl to touch the water. So yeah, just like a little bit. We're going to put those on now and bring them to a boil. So my water has come to a boil now. We're going to switch the heat off, and we're going to get our chocolate on top. Now I like to keep the heat off because I don't want to get any water into my chocolate. We do run the risk of it seizing or becoming like a grainy texture. So we're going to slowly melt our chocolate over our bain-marie. So just let it sit there for like 5 minutes or so, and you can give it a little mix. And that heat is going to come through and just gently melt it. So the reason that we add that portion of cocoa butter to our glaze is so we get a more fluid glaze. So it's going to be thinner and much easier to work with when we pour or dip over our cakes. So our chocolate and cocoa butter is almost completely melted, so I'm going to take this off the heat now. I'm going to start off with my vegan white chocolate one, and I'm going to pour it into a jug. Don't worry if you have a couple of small pieces of chocolate that haven't totally melted yet. They're going to be blended all in there. Now to our chocolate, we're going to be adding a portion of vegetable oil, and I'm just using a neutral flavored vegetable oil. Something like sunflower oil or grapeseed oil would work well. Now using your immersion blender, we're going to blend everything together, and you want to avoid adding air bubbles. So I like to just pop the head of the immersion blender into my mixture, just give it a little shake so any air bubbles can surface, and then give it a good blend. So once everything's nicely emulsified, we can just remove our immersion blender. Just make sure you've got all around the edges as well. I like to give it a good stir. And just tap underneath, so if there is any air bubbles, they're going to come to the surface. So now your glaze is ready to use. You can pour it over your cakes or use it to dip your travel cakes. So now we can do the dark chocolate one. Same process. And we have our neutral oil. And I'm just going to use the same stick to my immersion blender and just emulsify everything together, just trying to avoid adding air bubbles. And just give a nice tap underneath. And then your glazes are ready for your cakes.